lot of these, there are so many tools on this program. A lot of them are nested under each other. So all of the geometric shape tools are underneath this rectangle tool. So if you click and hold on it, you'll be able to see them all. I also like if you pull your mouse to the side and this very thin rectangle at the edge, if it gets dark, then I have this sort of pull out menu. So I just taught you the rectangle tool. Rounded rectangle tool I never use because I just showed you how you can actually round your rectangles. So it's the same thing, but the rectangles are rounded. These get the tools are getting progressively, the shapes are getting progressively more complex. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to show you with the rectangle tool. If you hold shift while you're pulling out a rectangle, you get a square. So that's how you can get a square. Another way to get a square would be to click and release and just say, 2 by 2, and then you get a square too. The next is the ellipse tool. The ellipse tool is how you would make a circle, and also any oval. So again, click and drag, and we get an oval. If you want to rotate your oval at all, you can pull out to the outer edges, and when you get that little double-sided arrow, you can rotate any way you want. If you hold shift, it will rotate at only 45-degree angles. So if you want it to be, very specific, you can hold shift while rotating, or you can just free rotate and it will tell you the degree. If you want a circle, you again can click and release and say 2 by 2, and that will give you a circle, of course. I'm resizing, I'm holding shift, but you can also hold shift as you drag out an ellipse, and that will give you a circle as well. So right now all the shapes I've created have this sort of like raspberry colored fill and no outline. I'm going to press V so that I have my selection key up. If I wanted to do the reverse, I could just flip it, and now I have a raspberry outline and no fill. Or say on this one I wanted to have a different color outline. There we go. Now I have like this purpley outline and the raspberry fill. And just like with our line tool, I can make that outline thicker or thinner by changing the stroke value here. So we have now gone through rectangle and ellipse. Polygon tool, that means any multiple-sided, any multi-sided geometric shape. So if you click and release, you get that dialog box again, and you can choose how many sides there. And the radius is how far from each side to the center. So, if you want an octagon, you can do it like that. And now it will create it in the same, with the same stroke and fill as you did before. So now I don't want an outline. So I just have my raspberry. And again, you can round the sides of your octagon if you want. Another thing you can do here is as you're dragging it out, you can press the down and up arrows on your keyboard, and it will add more sides and less sides. As we add more sides to our polygon, we get closer to a circle. Whee! And fewer sides, we can get all the way down to a triangle. Now the triangle it creates is an equilateral triangle. So for that reason, I usually, if I'm making a triangle, I usually like to use the pen tool. I just find it much easier to make anything that's not an equilateral triangle. But there we go. So that is the polygon tool. So if you know you want to have a shape with 12 sides, that's a good place to start. And again, we can resize holding shift and maintain proportions, or say you wanted it to be, if you didn't want to maintain proportions and you wanted it to be skinny like that, you can do it this way. So that is the polygon. Excuse me. Finally, we have the star tool. So just like with the polygon tool, when you're pulling the star tool out, you can press you can press the up and down arrow keys to add more points to your star. If you click and release, the dialog box will open. So now instead of just the polygon with one radii, there's two. So the radius 1 is the is the outer one, and radius 1 is the outer one, and radius 2 is the inner one. So the further those two are apart, the skinnier and spindlier the arms of your star are going to be. So let's say I'm giving a 5-point star, and I want it to be real spindly looking. I could put this at 5 inches, and then this at 1/2 inch. And I would have a very skinny star. Hello, hello. Or vice versa, if I wanted to do that again, and I'd say the radius one is 5 inches, and then I make radius 2 4.5 inches, I'm going to have a very stubby little guy. In fact, it barely even looks like a star at all. I don't like that. I'm making it, let's make it 3.5. That just really didn't do it for me. Okay, so now we have a sort of stubby little guy. So that's the star. With the star, I like to bring your attention to another possible tool. So the last thing in here is the flare. I don't use that. I think it's like just really complex. It has no real specific use. You can come up with plenty of original looking shapes using just these ones. But if you highlight, select one of your shapes, and then you press this white arrow, this is the direct select tool. So this gives you even more effects you can work with. And so right here we have the rounded. So that's how we rounded the edges of so if I wanted to round the edge of my star, I could do it that way. If I wanted to just do one, I could click, I could click on one and just, and just move that one, or at least I should be able to do that. Maybe I just, I don't remember how to do that. Well, I guess all I know how to do right now is, because I'm making this as a video, I wouldn't worry about it too much, but let's see. I should be able to, okay, yeah, sorry, I did double click on it, so now, there we go. So I guess it takes a little finesse. It is possible. I'm not requiring this of you, but just I thought it was sort of cool to show. But maybe it's not that cool to show if I can't do it. All right, so I'm just making a little bit of more funky star, a little bit more personalized. So this will come into, play if you're trying to build sort of more original but very geometrically based shapes for like a logo or something. But that is our geometric shape tool lesson. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up your geometric shape artboard, the little mini project that I want you guys to work on the next couple of days. But these two videos show you the tools you're going to use in your sort of project for the next 2 days.